it's fitting. I've started the women's ice hockey question, so I'll be reporter. Volleyball question, I'll be reporter too.
That is how they design it, yeah.
What creates offense?
Defense.
What creates defense?
Offense.
No, the goalie in the back of the net.
So you're crazy. I like you, but you're crazy because
At least if you're going to pick a trap game, pick the right ones.
Little fast footwork. I know your feet don't move that fast.
Brittany, that's all flash, no pass. She didn't net it in the back of the net. That's not even a
What are
goal.
you doing pulling out Ryan?
Brittany,
Are you ready for some debate? This Bobcat Breakdown starts right now.
Hello and welcome into Studio 125 for tonight's episode of Bobcat Breakdown. I'm your host, Samantha Shaw, alongside Brittany Braun-Lieben and Brianna Trachtenberg. We've got so much exciting stuff to talk about, so the only question is, are you guys ready for some debate?
I'm ready. I'm excited, Brittany, to go up against you in debate.
You know, we've been on this desk before. We never debated each other. I'm excited. It should be a great show. And we have Samantha Shaw with us.
It's a perfect show with me.
I'm ready. Starting on the mats, the NCATA announced the tournament matchup this past weekend, with Quinnipiac versus Iona next Thursday in the first meet. The Bobcats won their previous matchup against the Gales 264.282 to 257.475 and currently sit at the number 3 seed. With this in mind, how far do you think Acro will go in the NCATA tournament? Brianna, why don't you start us off?
No, everyone this whole season has been doubting on this Acro team. They're saying they're not maybe quite as good as they have been, but they are. They've only had one loss this whole season, and it was against Oregon. It came down to the last event, to the team event, and it was it was 1.22 points that they lost by. That is extremely small margins for Acro. They are a great team, and they had 5 starters out. That's like having your entire starting lineup for basketball being out for the beginning of the season. So of course they're gonna have a rocky start, but they've proven that they can step up when they need to, and that they're ready to go into the nationals next week and take the reins by the storm.
You know, Reddy wrote the point I was going to bring out that, this season, they're not as, good as they were in the past years. I just don't think they don't compete as together as you've seen in the team events and their acro and tumbling events. They're just not as clean as they used to be. I think that there's potential they'll get past the first round. I think they can beat Iona again. Again, if you look at the score, they only won by 10-ish points. It was less than 10 points. Again, that's a really close matchup. You can say they have starters injured on the team. That is crucial. But they only won by 10 to Iona.
See, I disagree. Winning anything more than probably about 5 points is a pretty big win for any Acro team. I mean, I agree. They're going to beat Iona. I also think they're going to beat Oregon. I know, crazy idea here, but they only lost, like I said, by a small margin, and it is really hard to beat a team twice, especially in the playoffs. Quinnipiac's going to have almost 3 weeks of rest and preparedness and cleaning up the issues that they had, and I think that they're going to make it all the way to the championship round.
Okay, as you said, they lost to Oregon. We were both at that meet. They just didn't look together, and they're kind of sloppy. I understand what you're saying.
They worked together the first 5 events of the meet. It was just the last one where they kind of had some mistakes. But Marianne said they're going to work on the briefing, and you know what? Next meet, they worked on their briefing.
Okay, you can say that, but I just don't think you can say they're going to the I don't think they can beat Baylor. Oregon's the 2 seed. You think they can beat Baylor?
I'm not saying that they're going to beat Baylor. I'm just saying that they're going to make it to the championship. I agree. They're going to probably lose to Baylor, but I think they're going to beat Oregon.
And you brought up the point that it's really hard to beat a team twice in a season, but I think Baylor's beaten Quinnipiac twice in the season before. Oregon can do that again too.
Baylor has won every meet in the last however many seasons. I'm not saying they're going to beat Baylor. They're going to beat Oregon and make it to the championship so they can compete against Baylor.
I don't think they're going to make it to the championship. I just don't think they're as good. They're not really as good as they were in past years to make it to the championship round.
Well, I think it's fair to say that this tournament will be very interesting. But moving on to the Diamond, the Bobcats earned a weekend sweep at home against Merrimack. Samuel Wright and Matt Alduino both pitched during this MAC series and have had consistent appearances throughout the season. Wright currently has an ERA of 6.60, while Alduino holds an ERA of 7.78. Out of these 2 players, who should be the number 3 starter for the Bobcats? Brittany, let's start with you.
I think I'm going to have to pick Sam Wright. I think he's going to have to be the the number 3 starter pitcher for the baseball team. You can look at Matt Alduino. He's just not consistent. When you don't know when he's starting, how he's going to pitch. He can either be right on the money and start getting strikes right away, or he's all over the place and then sets the Bobcats up in a really bad spot. As you said, Sam Wright has an ERA of 6.39, a 1.75 whip, and he has 2 wins on the season, 0 losses. He has 10 appearances and 4 starts. He's also had 1 save so far. So I don't know how you're going to pick Alduino over him. He just looks like the better option right now. He's playing better baseball, and right now the big struggle on the baseball team is that they're struggling with their pitchers, and I think that Sam Wright is going to be that person that steps up and makes a difference.
So I agree. Sam Wright is definitely more consistent, but Sam Wright is someone that you can put anywhere, have him coming out of the bullpen, have him starting, and he will be able to get strikeouts and play well no matter what. Matt Aldrino has been playing well starting off, not necessarily out of the bullpen, so why mess with consistency? Why mess with what is working? In baseball, it's all about finding your stride and sticking on the hot streak. Why would you mess that up and take him out of that? And you don't know. He could not play well coming out of the bullpen. He might be the better starter. That's why I think that you have to put him as the number 3 starter. When he has had good games, he's done really well. He just has to work a little bit on his consistency, which is why he can't be 1 or 2. I think he'll do well as number 3. But I think that you put him there, and that way you have Sam Wright to put wherever you need him to be.
I just don't think you're helping, though, because if Alduino starts off and he's pitching and he's inconsistent already, Bobcat's in a bad position. We kind of saw this against the Manhattan weekend. Alduino's starting pitcher. He looked really good the first and second innings, but then he fell apart third, fourth, and then Rubio had to step up for him. I just don't think it makes sense to waste those innings of Alduino, putting the Bobcats in bad situations where they're already down and they can get the bats. They're playing great offense. It's their defense where they're struggling with. If they have Sam Wright, who they can trust and has the better ERA, he can pitch for the team. He'll get them in a better position. So when they're up on their offensive side batting, they're going to get more runs in. So I just think it doesn't make sense.
I think that if you have Aldrino not be one of the starters, then I think it's just going to mess him up. And what we already are seeing is going to be worse than what it is. And it's not always about how you start a game, it's about how you finish it. So if you have a strong closer coming in to kind of help get the Bobcats back in the race, then I think that's how they're going to start winning more games, and their pitching is going to start to improve, and they'll be able to take home more of the wins.
Yeah, but it's not fair to put all that pressure on the closer. You have Ryan Hutchinson, who's been doing a great job with the closing, but if you start someone else besides Matt Alduino, putting them in bad situations where we saw this weekend where they were down in Merrimack, it was 5-2 in the third inning. I just think that if you start someone else like Sam Wright and you get a better offensive position, I think you'll be better and win more games.
I think that you have Sam Wright, you know that you can put him wherever he needs to be, and he's going to be fine. I think that it's safer for the team to have Matt Aldrino as the 3rd starter.
Great points all around. But it is now time for our first commercial break of the night. But when we come back, we'll be discussing our top athletes from the fall, winter, and spring seasons. Don't go anywhere because Bobcat Breakdown will be right back.
Gracie and Pedro might not get along so well.
You're standing on my tail.
But there's one thing they agree on. There's a right seat for everyone.
Oh, that's the good stuff.
Whether you're a dog,
Hold on, Pooch.
a cat, a fish, or a rat.
And I'm a ferret.
Be sure to travel safe.
How can you be so sure?
I'm absolutely positive.
On your next adventure, make sure your children are in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
My name's Stacy, I'm 57, and I was adopted in 2020. One teen can come in and make you look at life in a whole different way.
You know, he's my father, so I look up to him a lot. If I can be 10% of the man he is, I'll be a happy person for sure.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org.
No, I'm not gambling.
Live from the Piazza, it's Quinnipiac tonight!
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. As we approach the end of the academic year, we will be taking time to discuss who we believe the top athletes to watch this past year were. First, let's talk about our fall picks. Brittany, get the ball rolling.
For my fall pick, I had to pick incoming first year, Francisca Escoyes. She's really stepped up on this field hockey team. She led the team with 10 goals. The team scored 22 on the season, so she had more than half the goals of the season. She had a total of 22 points too. She was named to all Big East second team, and she actually tied the school's record for most goals scored in a game, being 4. So I just really think she came into this game. She really helped the field hockey team and helped them step up to a different elevation when they needed someone to step up and be the scoring aspect, and that was her. Brianna, who did you pick?
Well, I think Francisca Escoyes is great. I think Elena Giacomini from the volleyball team is even better. She was Quinnipiac's first volleyball MAC Player of the Year ever in program history. She just had complete dominance out on the court. She showed that she was a difference maker for that team. She had 486 kills, 366 digs, 565 points in total. She was second on the team with 71 blocks, and she had a season high of 31 kills, 15 digs, and 2 aces. Just a complete force out there on the court. Sam, who would you pick?
I went with Sofia Espinosa. I think she did a phenomenal job this season. She recorded 11 clean sheets, was named the conference's top goalkeeper after leading the MAC in shutouts, goals against average, and was the second in the league with the save percentage, and set a new program record for career shutouts and wins, which I just think is insane. I think that needs to be recognized. And I mean, that's just like entertaining to watch, like someone achieve that much. So I had to pick her.
You know, I think we've all picked players that really stepped up this season and really made an impact on the court and field, and I just really think they were special players that we picked.
I definitely agree. You know, it's always great to have a wall back there like Sofia Espinosa and, like I said, Francisca Escoyes. Field hockey might not have had a great season, but she
had a great season.
Yeah. No, great picks. Moving on to the winter season, the Bobcats had a solid year with all 4 winter teams making run in their respective league playoffs. I'll start us off with my winter athlete of the year. I went with Jack Ricketts on the men's ice hockey team. I think there's a lot of honorable mentions there. Chris Pelosi, Travis Treloar, Victor Chernevsky-Nair, but Jack Ricketts, I think just all around really had it. He was named MVP this past weekend. He had multiple ECAC awards throughout the season, multiple hat tricks, recorded 27 points, and I think just really stepped up in the areas that was needed on such a young team. He was there defensively, he had the rushes, and I think that really energized the team in a way that they really needed after losing so many players last year coming into the season. So I had to pick him. It was awesome to see that for the Bobcats, like I said, get energized.
So I picked for my winter player, I picked Gal Revive, another first year coming into the season. She played in all 33 games for the Bobcats and started in all 33. She averaged 36.2 minutes of a 40-minute basketball game, which is pretty impressive as a first year. You're getting that amount of playing time on the court. She was named MAC Player of the Year and MAC Rookie of the Year. She's the first player to ever do that for men's and women's. I just think she's made such an impact on this basketball team and came in and kind of changed the environment, where they kind of changed the mindset from last year to this year that, you know, they obviously always want to win a MAC championship, but they had a chance this year because players like Gal Revive stepped up. Brianna, who did you pick?
No, like Brittany, I'm going to stay on the court and pick basketball, but instead I went with the men's basketball team, Amari Monroe, who is MAC Player of the Year. He averaged 17.7 points per game, 9.2 rebounds, 2.3 steals per game, and he led the league in all 3 of those categories. Amari Monroe, who is such a difference maker out on the court, and the fact that he's coming back next year is going to be huge for the Bobcats. The past couple of years, they've gotten close to winning the MAC championship, and I think with his leadership and his skills, they're going to be able to go all the way. Really, all 3 of these players proved that they were big difference makers out on the courts and on the ice.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think, again, like we said, these teams did really great this season, really made it far, and that's because of the teamwork that they had and all the players. But lastly, spring sports are starting to near the MAC playoffs. So, Brianna, who is your spring player of the year?
You know, when you're building a house or a pyramid, you want a strong base, right? Yeah. So I had to pick Hallie Fowler, who is a base on the Acrobatics and Tumbling team. She is probably one of the best base that this team has seen. She is not only great also on the mat, but she's also great off the mat. She gets the crowd going. She keeps the team in it. But she earned Athlete of the Week, and she had 3 honorable mentions for Athlete of the Week this year. She also helped Quinnipiac earn a score of 9.5 or higher consistently throughout the season. And Pyramid has been one of their best events, and it's because of her. They've been within 1 or 2 points of getting a perfect 30 for the whole heat. That's within this entire season.
For my spring player, I'm going to pick Johnny Knox. You know, last year, Matt DeRosa graduated as a second baseman for the baseball team, and they needed someone to step up. He transferred in from D3 Nichols and really stepped up for the team. He has a 3.15 batting average, a .962 OPS, and he's played in all 34 games of the season. So he also has 4 home runs. I just really think he stepped up for this Bobcats team and is really helping them make a run in match play.
Yeah, for my athlete, I went with Naisha Daly. She's just crushing records left and right. Just this weekend, she neared history at the Bison Outdoor Classic. She won the 100-meter event with a personal best of 11.77 seconds, which is the second all-time record. She set a personal record in a previous event, and just all around shows what it means to really give it your all. You know, starting out in Quinnipiac, like it was a little slow getting her there just because of extenuating circumstances, but she's just really shown how valuable she is to this team and what a difference she can make.
I love that you picked track, Sam, because not a lot of people really talk about track, and she truly has been a standout, not just this spring, but also in winter. She's breaking records, I think, every time I see her compete in a meet. I mean, she's awesome to watch. She truly is like the definition of like speed out on that track.
Last year, Mac's fastest woman. Like, it's just insane.
Exactly. And, you know, people really don't appreciate Quinnipiac track and field, so it's really nice that you picked her as your favorite player.
Well, yeah, I thought she was the most entertaining. But this has been a lot of fun, but it is time for another media timeout. When we return, we will be talking about women's lacrosse winning streak as well as the softball's weekend sweep. Stick around because you won't want to miss it.
Elmer loves to giggle. Elmer's mommy taught him that laughing can help when you have a big feeling, like when you feel happy. Make sure to celebrate when you're happy and laugh it out. Love your mind.
Reporting from the Grove for Q30 News.
Reporting from the Miller Library for Q30 News.
Reporting from the Mount Carmel campus for Q30 News.
Reporting on Whitney Ave for Q30 News.
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. If you're just joining us, I'm Samantha Shaw alongside Brittany Braun-Lieben and Brianna Trachtenberg. As we mentioned earlier in the show, the Quinnipiac baseball team hosted the Merrimack Warriors for a 3-game series this past weekend. Take a look at the action thanks to QBSN.
Welcome into the Quinnipiac baseball field in Hamden, Connecticut, as the Quinnipiac Bobcats prepare to take on the Merrimack Warriors in the 3rd game of a 3-game set. Alongside Carlos Callo, I'm James Nolan, and we'll be your broadcasters this afternoon. A 1 pitch is swung on and driven into left field. It will get down. Garbowski will score. McCulloch will score. Willis goes into 3rd. Muller into 2nd, and he slides in safely with a 2-run double. Curveball in there, and he smashed it into left field. McCulloch going back at the track, turning, looking. See you later. Hayden Bond with a home run. His first pitch is smashed into left field. Going back at the track, see you later! A 3-run home run for Johnny Knox answers the Warriors, and the Bobcats go on top 5-4. First pitch from Barker is smashed into deep right center field. Nobody will have a play on it. The runner will score, and Smith will head into second base with an RBI double. Wall. C.J. Willis slices that ball down the first base line. It is fair. McCulloch will round 3rd and head home. Willis heads into second base. He wants 3. He's on his horse, and he will get in there safely, well ahead of the throw. RBI triple for C.J. Willis.
The women's lacrosse team is on a 3-game winning streak and currently sit at number 7 in the MAC with a 3-3 record. With only 2 games left in the regular season, how confident do you feel about the team heading towards the playoffs? Brittany, why don't you go first?
I'm meant to say I'm super confident in this team. Players like Abby Wise, Ella Grace, and Mia Delmont, and Shannon Alden have really stepped up for this team. And yes, they're 3-3 in MAC record, but those last 3 wins have been in a row for the season. I think Shannon Alden has really stepped up. She's only averaging around 12 goals a game. She's saving about 14. She's a 50% save percentage. I just really think that this team stepped up, and because it's the second half of the team that they have the ball moving and they're able to get these wins, I think that's going to give them momentum and confidence going into the rest of the season and going into MAC playoffs.
I'm going to have to disagree with you, Brittany. I just don't think that this team is consistent and experienced enough to have that much success in the playoffs. Now, I could see them maybe winning in the first round. I just don't think that they'll make a long stretch and run into the playoffs. They have had some bright spots, right? You just said they had a 3-game win streak going in the last 3 games. But before that, they had a 5-game losing streak. That is really hard to bounce back.
But they already bounced back from it.
But they
have 5 games losing, now they're winning 3. Do you have another fun fact for you? Do you know this is the first time since 2011 where the 4th time in program history where 4 players have had 40 or more points in a single season? It's Abby Wise, Ella Grace, and Mia Delmont, and Kate Podowski. I just think they have the momentum and that they can do this and make a run in playoffs. And can I remind you of a little team in 2022, the Quinnipiac volleyball team, who was kind of the same way. If you look at it, they lost the first half of the MAC season, then they went on a little run, and then they went to their first ever NCAA tournament. No?
No, look, I get it, but I will say, let's see, we're in the playoffs. If the playoffs started today, they would face Niagara, a team that they only beat by 1 goal, 13-12. Can you really go back and repeat that same success in the playoffs when the stakes are heightened? I just don't think that this team can. I think maybe next year when they have some more experience, but I just don't see them making a long stretch.
They're going to make a run. I think they proved themselves. Players like, again, Abby Wise stepping up.
But there's no way that they beat Iona.
All right. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. Moving to the circle, senior pitcher Sydney Horan pitched 18 innings throughout the softball team's 3-game sweep of Mount St. Mary's this past weekend. She currently holds an ERA of 3.45 in the season, having pitched in every game. How sustainable is this for the team's success? Brianna, what are your thoughts?
I think that this is sustainable. She already proves that she has the longevity. Like you just said, Sam, she was able to pitch 18 innings across the 3 games this past weekend, and they swept Mount St. Mary's. And between games 1 and 2, she only let up 5 runs between both games after going into extra innings on Friday. She has a great ERA currently. This weekend, she also surpassed over 100 strikeouts for the 2nd time in her career. She's had a career high of 11 wins as well. I think that Sydney Horan is on the hot streak, and I think her pitching is going to be what takes this softball team far for the rest of the season.
I agree. She's the best pitcher they have in this team, but can she be pitching in every game? That's not good for herself personally for the long run. If they go into playoffs, she's expected to do more work. I just think other players on the team, like Jacqueline Gonzalez, has to step up and help her out, because why is it fair to Sydney Horan to just do all the work? I understand, but it's not good for her personally.
But going back to what you said before in baseball, why would you put in another pitcher that's not as good and put the Quinnipiac down?
Compare the stats to the other pitchers, though. Jacqueline Gonzalez has a 6.61 ERA, and then you have Shannon Kendall, who has a 7.15 ERA, and then Taylor Walton, who has a 0 ERA, but she's only appeared in 4 games and pitched 2.2 innings. I just don't think they're using all their pitchers to their maximum, because
Sydney Horan has already proved that she's the best pitcher that they have. She's proved that she can get the job done over and over again. So why would you mess with the success? Right now, they are at a spot where they can make the playoffs for the first time in program history. Why would you mess with that formula?
Do you think she's going to be able to keep pitching like this consistently? That's a lot of wear and tear on the body. They need other players just to help her out. I'm not saying she's not the best pitcher. Look, I'm agreeing. But
all right. Thank you so much for your points. But it is now time for us to take our final break of the night. But when we come back, it will be time for us to give our final roars. Stay with us. Bobcat Breakdown will be right back.
Here at Sports Pause, we like to have balance between having fun and working hard. Sometimes that competition we cover gets into our producing.
Tune in every Monday night at 9:30 at q30tv.com/watch for all the news, highlights, and more. This is Sports Pause.
Guys! We had to make a commercial for #that right now. What do we do?
How long do we have? We've only had 2 months to do this.
We could explain that it's a pop culture news show that covers everything from movies, music, and video games.
Yeah, and we can also talk about how there's pre-recorded segments that vary from reviews to in-depth discussions.
We should also mention that it broadcasts live every Monday at 7 p.m. on q30tv.com/watch.
I think that covers everything. Did you guys get that down?
Welcome back to Bobcat Breakdown. It is now time for our final roars. I'll start us off. Well, guys, my reign of terror has come to an end for the Quinnipiac Bobcat Sports Network. In 2 weeks, I will no longer be the chairwoman of the organization. This year has been amazing for me. This job has taught me a lot, how to get through all the challenges life throws at you. Sure, I love what I've done, but this year hasn't been a smooth ride. For all the bad that has happened, all the highs have made me realize this is why I do this position. To watch people get to follow their dreams and find their passion and fall in love with this club. But I would be nowhere without the e-board who's always had my back. To my right-hand men, Zach Tarenko and Beckett Calkins, for always having my back and helping me when I needed it. Thank you to the rest of the e-board for being amazing and helping the organization be the best it can be. Anthony Rossi, Katrina Jablonski, Michael King, Patrick Rawls, Ryan Holden, Ryan Lapato, John Pilato, and Luke Sennett. Without you guys, I couldn't have done it. Luke, I know you will kill it next year as chairperson. If I could, I would be here next year in the same position to help QBSN continue to grow. I have truly had fun this year. I've made so many new connections and allowed for the old friends to continue to grow. This may be my farewell as chairwoman, but don't you fret, guys, fret. I'll be here next year. I want to take time to thank my family for allowing me to support my dreams and for dealing with me always on my phone trying to problem solve. So one last time, thank you to all who have supported me and helped me grow as a leader and all the ones I can call friends.
As the year comes to a close, it's time for me to say my final word as Q30 president. 3 years ago, if you had gone back and told first-year Brianna that she'd be president, she probably would have looked at you like you were crazy. Coming to Quinnipiac, it was never my plan to become president. But fall of my second year, I decided that I wanted to leave a greater impact on the station, and well, here I am. While it has been a year filled with ups and downs, being president has truly been one of the most fulfilling experiences I've had in my college career. Being president has made me a more confident person and has truly changed who I am for the better. It has allowed me to get involved with every department in the station and meet new people and make connections with every show. Watching first years become confident in their work and veteran students get creative and try new ideas has been one of my favorite parts of this job. Helping everyone grow and form friendships like I had the opportunity to do was always one of my goals and has continued to be throughout this year. I definitely would not have made it through this year without the help of everyone who has served on the cabinet. I want to thank Andrew Reynolds, Aaron Epstein, Casey Poppins-Sandelka, Ben Rickovicius, Patrick Walsh, Eli Ehlers, Julia Barcello, JJ Tafuto, Mike Singer, Jackie Ajovo, and Sam Shaw. I truly cannot have done any of this without you guys, and I want to thank all of you for the hard work and dedication you've put into the station this year. I could not have asked for a better cabinet. I also want to say good luck to the incoming president, Miranda Patorti, and the rest of her cabinet. I know all of you will lead Q30 well. Finally, I want to leave with one final message. At every general meeting this year, I've always started off with try something new or get creative. For everyone coming back next year and everyone graduating, please continue to try something new. Stepping out of my comfort zone is how I became president, and it truly is the best way to learn. While I will be coming back next year for one final time as your president, I want to say thank you, Q30, for everything.
The greatest aspect of sports is that it contains lessons that are powerful both within the game and in life. One of my favorite pieces of coaching advice comes from men's ice hockey head coach Rand Pecknold. Win your shift. In the game, you need to focus on what you can do to put yourself and your team in the best position to succeed. And there are many different things that could mean. In life, the same rules apply. The only difference is the goal itself. Those 3 simple words highlight the fact that you should make the most of every moment. Keep the goal in mind, but let your character determine the move. Over the past 3 years, I've been blessed to grow both professionally and personally. I entered Quinnipiac not knowing what I could do to set myself up for success and eventually decided to give Q30 a try. When I did, I was met with nothing but encouragement from so many people and opportunity because of it. Now I am proud to say that I have served in 4 different positions for this incredible station, have had the amazing opportunity to attend the Sundance Film Festival as a member of the press, and after tonight have been on all 5 Q30 shows. So, what did I learn from this shift? Just go for it. Walk into that intimidating room, talk to the person who seems untouchable, trust your faith because it will lead you to new horizons, and be kind in the process. These lessons have been the best part of my journey along with the people I have met on the way. Thank you to everyone who helped me to become the best I could be. I greatly appreciate it all. Thank you to my family, colleagues, professors, and friends for your constant support. College is just another shift in life, and I can confidently say that I won my shift.